much, ma'am. I would briefly introduce Mr. Siddharth Dasgupta to all of you. Mr. Siddharth is the Associate Director, Advisory Government and Public Sector Practice for Africa, India, and Middle East for Ernst & Young. Mr. Siddharth also oversees the GPS market segment for South Asia for multilateral and bilateral clients like the United Nations, the World Bank, Asian Development Bank, African Development Bank, Foreign and Commonwealth Office, and Department for International Development. Mr. Siddharth has been closely associated in advising the Government of India and various state governments and Government of Bangladesh and Nepal on a host of policy-related issues, particularly around investment promotion, ease of doing business, skill development, and technology transformation. Apart from business as usual, he is currently helping multiple economies across Europe and South Asia to come out of COVID crisis in numerous ways, like by supporting public health, education, skill development, power and utilities, urban infrastructure, rural livelihoods, agri-techs, fintechs, among others. He has been the regional procurement manager for Foreign and Commonwealth Office of the United Kingdom. He was also nominated for the I.T.S Young Procurement and Supply Professional. It's a privilege to have you, Mr. Siddharth, amongst us today. And without any further delay, I'll hand over the forum to you to address the students. Thank you. Over to you, Mr. Siddharth.
Thanks a lot, all the professors, and thanks a lot for a very kind introduction there. I'm highly privileged to be today amongst all these budding new managers who are the future. We are just the torchbearers, and we are just trying to see and cut through these terrible times and see where can we grow and where can exactly our growth mindset comes from. As ma'am said that this is the new normal. I have been working in this new normal for pretty much like close to 150 days now, and counting. There will be travel, and there will be enough travel happening. Things will get back to normal, but definitely in a new environment, it won't be the same environment what we left pre-COVID times. So I would start with perhaps a small phase of what I call it as a RRR phase, which is basically a response, recovery, and reimagination phase. So what we are doing, trying to do right now is we are trying to respond to what we are facing today. And this goes irrespective to anybody. I mean, be it a student, professor, teacher, anybody who is working in a consulting field like us, whoever is in government, who are the policymakers, influencers, lobbyists, everybody is trying to respond to this particular crisis. And this is not a small crisis. This is like a combination of many crises. There's the health crisis, there's an economic crisis, there's a social unrest, there's the entire world geopolitics. It's all combined into one. And so any business who wants to run as efficiently as it should, or as they would like to, they can't do that right now. I mean, there are obvious reasons behind that. But the reason for some of the things like the bad habits we picked up before COVID cannot be tolerated now. I mean, it's a no toleration zone right now. We cannot tolerate those bad habits. And I'm talking about individuals, and even professors, everybody is included in that. We cannot go ahead with those bad habits which we picked. Secondly, I also try and get to students, because I'm also an adjunct faculty member in many institutes, including IITs. I'm a few universities outside India, in the US, in Canada. Whenever I talk to my students and whenever I actually try to deliver a dialogue, it's always a dialogue, it cannot be a monologue. I always say that what exactly those three things which we really need to focus on. And I start with, and trust me, these three things are right now, I would say, coming out or revealing itself as more real than anytime in the past. The first one is, I would say, the growth mindset. In the growth mindset, I mean, there are different sort of mindsets, but then if I talk about growth mindsets, there are three things that we absolutely need to be on the frontier of everything we do. Whatever we are doing, we have to be on the frontier. For example, I mean, we as a firm, we have an alliance with Microsoft. So once we were in a meeting where Satya Nadella was there in Seattle. And in that meeting, Microsoft Teams was actually being introduced, and there were around 30 people in our organization who were using that particular platform. And now there are 300,000 in our organization itself. So I love the platform. I just use it like intercom. I just click it and I just use the screen like that. The growth mindsets, we need to be we really need to get hands on with the front runners. We need to be the digital front responders to the front responders, because you see, in any which way we are leading our lives today, digital has to be the key going ahead, and we cannot undermine the importance of being digital right now. For example, we are helping the entire health tech department, where we are trying to get a lot of insights through telediagnosis and helping through telemedicines. And if at all the patient is required to go to the hospital, or the hospital people come to the patient, but then most of the part, like the earlier part, is already being done through the e-media, the telephone media and the electronic media. Second, I would say that is also about the intellectual honesty, to look at the data, whether it is even the public health data, to make better decisions. There's so much of news going on. There's a limit to which human beings should be consuming these news, the news right now. All the news currently, I would say you don't really need to go through each and every piece of news. Every news has its own sanctity. Every news has its own distortion. Please make sure whatever news you go through, there is a certain amount of filter you use. There's too much of noise going around. And again, leadership is it's also about to cut through these noises and get you to the right position. And in this particular growth mindset, I always say we need to confront the fixed mindset. If we confront the fixed mindset, we will be able to reach the growth mindset. And lastly, I would say the agility to pivot, to know. It's easy. It's quite easy to know. For example, there's so much, as I said, there's so much of noise, like white noise, gray noise, and black noise, which we are surrounded with, which we need to cruise through. So I would perhaps leave you with these three thoughts and pause for a few questions before I move ahead. That these three thoughts are something which we really need to build on. In fact, the benefits of having a sense of purpose or a culture is a reservoir from which you should draw during these times. You should be able to come out victorious out of this time. You should be able to come out of this time as successful. These are the main 2 or 3 things which one needs to always be mindful of. There is a great economist named as David Gall, and he has always talked about the entire U.S. economy being really rich in the past and not doing as great as it is now. The reason why U.S. economy is crumbling down into pieces is partly because of the fact that a lot of the industries there are actually into the fixed mindset, not into the growth mindset. Those ones who are into growth mindset, they're already shifting the paradigm, like Apple, the manufacturing I'm talking about. I think today or yesterday, the news was that around dozens of mobile phone manufacturers have pledged around billions of dollars to shift their manufacturing to India. That is what I call a growth mindset. You don't need to be fixed towards one point. Just because it benefit to you in the past doesn't mean it will benefits to you in the future. I can give you a quick example. In the last, I think in the last year, we spent around billions of dollars on air travel. Now we need to really reimagine how much of that air travel is actually needed. And now, right now, going ahead and beyond, because we are stepping into a new environment. There are things which we really need to be mindful of. Our actions, which will all come back to us. And one thing which is a core of my own personal belief of working is empathy, which is basically try to analyze and see situations, putting yourself into somebody else's shoes. I would say it's a life skill. People cannot develop it by pressing a button. One needs to imbibe it in it every day, every hour. I do miss my meetings. I do miss my social capital, what I used to gain post-meeting, pre-meeting, the brainstormings. Yes, I have developed a lot of social capital and brain capital during that time. Am I able to use it now? Yes, people are burning it now. But how long will that last? I don't know. But what is definite is what we are stepping into is something truly new. Um, Whether it be beautiful or not, it's completely up to us. We need to make it beautiful. We need to know. I mean, before even becoming a great professional or a great manager, one needs to become a great human. One needs to empathize with their people. One needs to know what exactly is going on onto the other side of the table. And once you do that, once you actually get into the scheme of things, you'll see those incremental changes happening inside you, within you. And then the entire trajectory of your career will be an autopilot mode. You don't need to really think much about it. It will be totally your own uh, good deeds. It's so again, growth mindset. It's not about know it all mindset. Growth mindset. It's all about learn it all mindset. We need to learn. We need to unlearn. We need to learn new things, and do not think that whatever you have learned, whatever you have learned in the past, you cannot unlearn it, because it's not true that whatever you have learned is true and will hold you next few years to come. Forget about years. Let's talk about months, because every day is as big as a year. I mean, so many things are happening in one single day. So yeah. So these are like pretty much two or three things which were back of my mind. I know we